Here we go. We're here. We are back. It's season 4, people.
Season 4. Season 4.
More than gold. More than gold. Hello and welcome, guys, to Already Won, a Sports Friends podcast. I'm your host, Ben Wildman, a.k.a. the Wildcat. Now, you can see I am riding solo, S-O-L-O. The Mad Dog is in Ghana at the minute. He's there visiting one of our countries, and he's there doing a fundraising training. So he's going to see the work that's going on over there with Benji. If you missed the episode, our Golden Take, he is in person with the one and only Benji. Now, while the Mad Dog's away, the Wildcat comes out to play this episode. Before we review it together, myself and the Mad Dog, I'm going to go through some of the top 10 clips from season 4. Now, if you remember, season 4 was titled More Than Gold. It was based on 1 Peter chapter 1, verses 1-9. And it really focused on this idea of our faith being worth more than gold. And some of our guests came in and shared loads of different wisdom, loads of different bits of gold bars. But I'm going to share some of my top 10 quotes. Not in any particular order. I thought about ranking them, but I thought some of our guests may be a bit offended by that. So what I've done is I'm just going to go through 10 different quotes so you guys to have a look. And maybe it may prick your interest to go back and listen to some previous episodes. So first up, it is the person we had on last week, which is our team leader in Thailand. This is Ton. And Ton is sharing his vision for Sports Friends Thailand. So let's watch our first clip right now. Here's Ton. Tell us a bit about your vision for the country.
Well, as we go to serve denominational churches, local churches, we want to see them eventually be church-centered sports ministry. So since Tip and the team moved to Thailand, we've trained over 1,000 of CCSM coaches. Many lives transformed, thousands of kids came to know Christ. But the majority of those CCSM, it's in the north and gradually growing in the northeast or Isan. So geographically, Thailand has 6 regions as north, south, northeast, east, west, and central. You know, we have served and helped churches in the north and northeast to start their CCSM. We have helped TKBC and TLBC to become full-grown CCSM denominations. We want to see every regions of Thailand have CCSMs. We want to see at least one strong network of CCSM in each and every regions. In the next few years, we will focus on helping local churches in the central and in the south to start their own CCSM, as well as exploring opportunity to share vision in the east and the west as well. And each of those regional networks, we want to see at least a healthy leader who truly grasps what CCSM really is.
There we go. Ton, great guest, and it was great to hear from him about all the work that's going on in Thailand. Next up, my next quote and next video comes from another Golden Take, and this time from Ghana. This is Benji. He spoke about 2 things which are vital for sports ministry. Here are the 2 things he said, and he's got these 2 in abundance. Benji, take it away.
The joy of this ministry is the fact that the focus is not professionalism, is not the best athlete, but the fact that some one who has the passion for young people and love to engage in sports, whether you can do it better or not, but the passion and the willingness to be able to use sports as a tool for discipleship. I think that is my part. I have not, growing up, I did not involve in any kind of serious sports activity, but I really love to watch sports. I love to engage. I love to learn new games, but I did not really have that professionalism. But the passion is what is really pushing me.
Yeah. Passion and willingness. Passion and willingness. Benji has got so much passion and willingness for sure. And that's what loads of others in our sports friends feel as well. Love it. Great 2 things there. Passion and willingness. Great stuff from Benji. Next up, we had the co-founder Brian Davidson. What an episode. If you guys have not got your hands on this, I thoroughly recommend it. The Playbook of Deception, based on the Screw Tape Letters by C.S. Lewis. Here is Brian Davidson talking about this untapped mission field, the world of sport, youth sport. So let's hear from Brian himself, who talks a little bit more about his new book.
The whole idea of like the enemy, like what C.S. Lewis did was brilliant. I know he's English, but it was still brilliant. It so inspired me, and I always loved that book. And you should read it. I mean, it's super, super small, but great. But that inspired me to look at it differently. And all of a sudden, I wrote 34 letters, and I whittled 250 pages down to about 75. And then I wrote a companion study for it. And it was one of those things where I felt like it boiled the essence of everything down to like what the enemy could be doing to us, right? And so it was, the first 250 pages, I think, was far more judgmental, critical, and more like, don't do this, do this. Whereas this book was more of like, it's not that way. It's like, hey, let's have a little window into what the spiritual warfare may be for Christians in the context of youth and school sports. And it bring about, the objective was an aha moment that would bring about conviction, but then a challenge to make a course correction.
Incredible stuff. Definitely get your hands on this, the Playbook of Deception. You'll not be disappointed. Next up, we have got a clip from Sandrine Ray. Sandrine, someone who played ice hockey from Switzerland, our first Swiss guest. And she talks about something which I really love. The advice is to aim for things that last. Sandrine says it way better than me. Let's watch the next clip. What advice would you have for those, you know, in line with that, to those who are playing or coaches, and final advice to people who are involved in the world of sport?
Really, my advice for everyone is, and athletes in general, is to aim for things that are lasting. We're saying more than gold, like silver or bronze, like the medals are quickly destroyed, as we could see in Paris. They don't last. What I experienced as well, as I said before, it took me almost 20 years to get to the Olympics from the day I started playing hockey. And I was shocked to see that after all the efforts and ups and downs, then you're at the Olympics and it lasts 2 weeks or 2 or 3 weeks, and then it's gone. And it's because I'm thankful to be in a sport that has many games in a row. Some athletes, they have one race and it's gone. You know, it's like 2 minutes and it's over. So it's the highest thing that the world of sport has to offer, the Olympics, but it doesn't last. But what God has to offer lasts forever, and so that's my encouragement, to aim for things that are lasting, and that's love, faith, hope.
There we go. Sandrine Rain saying that gold medals don't last, don't truly satisfy, because she talks about the things that does truly satisfy, the inheritance that could never spoil or fade or perish. That talks about in 1 Peter chapter 1. Incredible stuff. Definitely worth going to listen to Sandrine, where she talks about her biggest low was actually the time where she came to know Christ for herself. Really great episode there from our first ever Swiss guest. And a shout out to Jeremy Bagat, who works with her. Brilliant guy, Jeremy. Great to have a little shout out to you there. Next up, clip number 5 was another golden take. Now, Benji said passion and willingness. Well, Charles in Canada said 2 things are essential: passion and one other thing. Let's see what Charles said.
It's sports ministry the way that we see it as sports friends, where we train local churches, ready to spend time to be a presence. It's for almost mature believers of every age, right? A 20-year-old believer on fire can be a coach, and an 80-year-old man who knows a lot about life can be a great presence on the court. So that's maybe the first thing. Second thing is, to me, is passion and treasures. We should never bury these, right? They should never be put on the back burner, even as we grow older, and as maybe the strength or the flexibility, or someone loses, the ability to shoot well or to dunk, it doesn't mean that what God has taught you will not be used in different ways.
Charles Millette there, our team leader in Canada. Awesome. He's talking about from the youngest coach to the oldest coach. Passion and treasures. Don't bury those. Great advice from Charles. Thank you, Charles. All roads led to Canada in season 4. Charles was there. Awesome. So halfway through some of our brilliant quotes from season 4. More than gold. Gold bars are dropping left, right, and center. Number 6, we had a doctor. We had Dr. Chad Carlson come in. Now, I love this conversation. Really smart, intelligent guy who'd researched around different things within sport, history of sport, philosophy around sport, sociology around sport. Really interesting guy. And so he talked about here a little bit around how sport can transform faith beyond trophies. And so 2-minute clip here from the doctor himself. Let's give this a little watch.
I think sport has the opportunity to be so helpful for Christian ministries. And one of the best things that we can do as leaders in sport ministry spaces is not to deprioritize sport, or not to say that sport is less important than what it is, because it feels, in our experiences when we participate in sport, it feels important, and it is important. The problem is when we focus too much on the outcomes, the contesting outcomes, and not enough on what's going on within the athletes and how they're changing and growing. And we can see that morally and we can see that amorally. So we talk in one of my classes about the difference between the contest going on in a sport and the difference, and then a test. So the contest is how well I'm doing relative to somebody else. Am I better than the other person, the other team, or am I worse than the other person, the other team? That seems to have very little value in Christian theology. I think we heard that at the Second Global Congress on Sport and Christianity, that there's not much value in proving that you're better than somebody else. There's no space in Jesus's world for that. So if we can focus on the testing elements, that is, how well am I doing? How well am I able to follow along the instructions from the coach? How well am I able to be a great teammate? How well am I able to develop in my skills? Am I showing that I'm improving in my skills? Because if I'm doing that, that's part of character development, right? I'm doing certain things from a discipline perspective. So there's a lot of good that comes from our focus on the development of the athlete through sport. Again, that's moral and non-moral. The problem is just when we focus too much on the outcome, right? The contesting outcome. And so I would offer that as guidance when we're thinking about more than gold. Obviously, Jesus Christ is more than gold, but there's so much within sport also that can lead to one having a better relationship with Jesus Christ that is also more than gold, more than the championships, the trophies, and the medals.
All right, Dr. Chad, love it. Really deep conversation there, worth watching the whole thing. Every episode is worth watching. Get yourself out on a walk, get yourself out on a run. If you're driving, listen to the full episode. Next up, clip number 7. Wow, this one was powerful. This was Steve Zonderman. Steve, I love this. He talked about different bits of men's ministry. This was brilliant. If you're honestly involved in any sort of male ministry, this is fantastic. The guy is an expert in this area, and he talks about here the global challenge that men face. Let's watch this next clip from Steve.
We've been working in about 45 different countries, really every continent except Antarctica, and the issues that men face are really the same. Obviously, like you said, there's cultural nuances, but the issue of isolation. I tell our guys all the time, isolation is not masculinity. Isolation is stupidity, and we see that. In this country, about 73% of people say that they're lonely. It's an epidemic, and it started before COVID, but that really enhanced it or compounded it, and so many guys are living in isolation, and when men are isolated, they just do really stupid things, and that is a common denominator all around the world. And moving men from isolation to community is a big challenge.
There we go. Kyle's very own mentor there, Steve, dropping some gold bars. So good. I tell you, that episode for me was in my top 5 from all the seasons because there was so many gold bars. When he was speaking, you're just like, yep, that's right. He's nailing it on so many things. So definitely worth giving that a listen to Steve, part of No Regrets Ministry. 3 to go. Last 3, worth waiting for. Thanks for sticking around. If you're enjoying the quotes, stick them in the chat on Facebook. It's great to see all the live listeners on Facebook. Shout out to a lot of the coaches that listen in Nigeria. And we've actually seen that in our top 5 listeners around the world, they're in Charlotte, they're in Houston, they are in England, they are in Sydney, Australia, and Milwaukee in Wisconsin. So shout out to everyone who listens and watches the podcast. Thank you so much for your support. Here we go then. This next one, this is brilliant. This is Tiana. Tiana talking about why coaches should prioritize people over results. People over results. Let's hear it from her mouth herself.
But one advice that I would get from my experience, where I think I actually experienced most hurt from coaches, is when results come before people. So when you value results and the score at the end of the game on that table, but you don't value people and players that play for you, that can be very actually traumatic. Like the last thing I would want for someone to happen as a coach is that there are athletes or players who stop playing or lose joy in the game because of the way you dealt with them. So when the Bible says like treat others and value others above yourself, I think that's really the key.
Boom. Loved it. Brilliant episode there. Worth watching it back. Former TCU player, Tiana. So good. So much good gold in there. 2 more. Last 2. We had our first golden take. Faustin Zumtolo from Malawi came in, and he was a brilliant first golden take for us. Our first golden take in season 4. And he talks about here how sports ministry has transformed so many lives across Malawi. Let's give this a watch.
So when I met Luke, and when he started like explaining more about Sports Friends and how Sports Friends ministry partner with the churches and how churches benefit and how it looks like, I was much interested with this area of discipleship. Then we started doing sports ministry together, especially in my denomination. And we have seen God being faithful with himself, with those few churches embrace the vision, but also not only embrace the vision, but they were putting into practice of that vision. So they were able to do the ministry well. And we have seen churches growing, people growing in their faith, especially young people and their parents growing in Christ through sports ministry. Then many parts of Malawi, people start crying, like calling out to us. We want this ministry also this side. We want to also minister this side. So it's when we had this great opportunity of expansion. Then the ministry starts growing like that. And today we are talking of that huge number, that many local churches that are part of this ministry, but also a huge number of young people are participating in this ministry.
There we go. Faustin Zumtolo there. Go and check out the whole episode. He talks about how amazingly the ministry and movement in Malawi is spread from the southern region to eastern region, central, northern, all across Malawi. A little spark became a huge flame, and the flame has spread. Worth watching that. And if you want to hear a new video, a new story from a coach in Malawi, go to the YouTube channel, Sports Friends INTL on YouTube, and you can check out Coach Lydia. Coach Lydia is a game changer. She is one of the first female coaches to coach a boys soccer team. Well worth watching that. Go and have a look. Check it out. You'll be inspired. Game changer, Lydia. Awesome. Last clip then. We've had 9 incredible quotes, incredible clips. Number 10 to bring us home. This was one of our first episodes. This was Parker Bird, the first person to be an amputee to play in Division 1 baseball. Amazing story. Turning some really difficult circumstances and seeing really how his faith is being refined to be more than gold, and is now sharing this amazing story, this test becoming his testimony. This really set the scene for me for the whole of season 4 about this idea of your faith being worth more than gold. So let's watch Parker, our last clip, where he talks about what happened and his decision that he had to make.
It was about 12 days later, on August 4th, the doctor came into my room pretty early that morning and said, "Hey, Parker, we have 2 options. Option A, we can continue this medicine we have you on now, and which isn't working at all, and basically the infection would spread to your kidneys and lungs, and you'll basically end up dying. Or option number B, we can just amputate your right lower extremity, And I was like, well, Doc, I don't think there's two options here. I think I want to live. I don't care if I have 1, 2, 0 legs. It doesn't matter. I want to live. So obviously I chose option B, and we're still living today.
So you can listen to that whole episode where he talks about his accident, his boating accident, and how he went on this journey to basically come back and play. And now the kind of thing he's trying to do now to continue to inspire a lot of young people in their faith, and people at all ages are inspired by his story. More than gold. So good. So guys, they are 10 clips. Like I said, you can listen back on any streaming platform, whatever choice. You can go and listen to them. You can go and watch them back on YouTube, or you can listen to them on any podcast provider. Thank you guys so much for watching. As the Mad Dog's been away, the Wildcats came out to play. And we've got one more episode. We're going to give the Mad Dog his doctorate. We're going to give him his title as Dr. Mad Dog, going through 4 seasons, hearing from all these incredible guests. The Mad Dog has become a doctor. So join us next week as we wrap up season 4 live in person with the Mad Dog and the Wildcat. Thank you guys so much. And as Carl says, you got to tell your friends, tell your friends' friends, tell your parents, and tell your parents' friends. Just tell everybody